Hello, viewers of Jonathan George Villaria's World Party. I am Jonathan George Villaria, and I am excited to share with you how I can expand and knowledge of the world of the third English language. Our videos cover a range of topics such as literature, history, science, and more to provide you with a well-rounded learning experience. Regardless of whether you are a beginner or experienced learner, our expertly curated videos offer captivating and enlightening content to help you enhance your language proficiency. The Khmer Rouge genocide in Cambodia stands as one of the darkest chapters in world history. Notorious for its unfathomable brutality and severe consequences on the population on the Southeast Asian region. It not only claimed the lives of millions but also plunged the nation and the region into the protracted Vietnam-Cambodia border conflict that spanned decades. To grasp the depths of this genocide and its impact, we need to dive into the specifics of Khmer Rouge regime and the socio-political conditions of Cambodia during that period, and Vietnam's intervention to end its reign of terror. This genocide was particularly eerie because it was carried out by individuals of the same ethnicity, driven by an extremist ideology. The Khmer Rouge aimed to create an entirely agrarian society, eradicating all traces of modernization and imposing a fanatical socialist ideology. Inspired by the lives of Stalin and Mao Zedong, they forcibly relocated population from cities, subjected them to torture and mass killings, coerced labor, and caused widespread malnutrition and disease. As a result, over 2 million people, equivalent to a quarter of Cambodia's current population, paid the price with their lives. The genocide only came to an end with the Vietnam-Cambodia border conflict. To date, more than 20,000 mass graves have been discovered, often referred to as the killing fields. The Khmer Rouge's spirit was driven by a desire to return a powerful Khmer empire of the past, thwart foreign aid, and re-establish the country as an agrarian society. To achieve this, they implemented all the elements of genocides, including forced displacement of minority ethnic groups, bans of the use of minority languages and religions, and harsh purges of Cambodian society and politics. The genocide also drove the military and former leaders of the old regime at the positions of power. So, who was Pol Pot, the man behind this horror, and how did he lead the Khmer Rouge? Pol Pot, whose real name was Salazar, was born on May 19, 1925 into a wealthy family in Cambodia. He studied at prestigious schools and even studied in Paris, where he joined the French Communist Party. In 1953, Pol Pot returned to Cambodia to participate in the communist resistance against the French regime in Indochina. Under Pol Pot's leadership, the Khmer Rouge carried out horrifying genocidal actions. Pol Pot became the general secretary and sought to eliminate members of the Vietnamese-friendly faction within the Communist Party. In 1975, the Khmer Rouge officially seized the capital Phnom Penh after the Lon Nol government fell, and Pol Pot became the supreme leader of Cambodia. Under his leadership, the Khmer Rouge implemented a strict and brutal policy resulting in the Cambodian genocide. Millions of people perished during this period due to murder, starvation, and disease. The Ba Dub massacre of 1978 left a deep scar in Vietnam's history, an unforgettable tragedy. From April 18th to 30th, 1978, the Khmer Rouge carried out a ruthless massacre in the Ba Dub community in An Giang province, resulting in the deaths of 3,157 civilians, with only three fortunate survivors. On April 18, 1978, Khmer Rouge forces invaded Ba Dub, killing anyone they encountered on their path. Those who survived sought refuge in Tam Bu Pagoda and Phi Lai Pagoda, but were not spared from the massacre. They were tortured, beaten, raped, decapitated, and dismembered, including pregnant women and innocent children among the victims. The aftermath of the Ba Dub massacre contributed to the Vietnam-Cambodia border conflict, ultimately leading to the Southwest border war. The Ba Dub massacre memorial was built by the An Giang provincial government, and its people included a tomb, a Veterans monument, a tradition house, a Thủy Tạ house, a lotus pond, a guest house, and a fence. The main structure, the tomb, houses the skulls of thousands of massacre victims. The Vietnam-Cambodia border war erupted in 1978 as a part of the Third Indochina War, unfolding in the context of the Cold War and the division between China and the Soviet Union. This conflict spanned over the decade, characterized by various phases. It began when the Khmer Rouge, the radical regime of Cambodia, launched an invasion of Vietnam and carried out a series of attacks, massacres, and genocidal acts against the Vietnamese population, notably the Ba Dub massacre, with over 3,000 victims. In response to these attacks, the People's Army of Vietnam initiated the war on December 13, 1978. In the early stages, the Khmer Rouge launched a fierce attack on Vietnamese territory but was eventually defeated. This war consisted of four main phases. Khmer Rouge invaded Vietnamese territory and causing the deaths of thousands of Vietnamese civilians. Vietnam sought peaceful solutions, but the Khmer Rouge refused. The Khmer Rouge launched guerrilla attacks on Vietnam but was defeated, and subsequently Vietnam advanced into Cambodia and overthrew the Khmer Rouge. The Khmer Rouge conducted guerrilla activities and threatened the Democratic Kampuchea regime with support from Thailand, China, and the United States. Vietnam had to station troops in Cambodia to protect the regime and eliminate the Khmer Rouge. Vietnam gradually withdrew its forces from Cambodia, and the Democratic Kampuchea regime stood firm. The remnants of the Khmer Rouge eventually disintegrated and were defeated. This war resulted in thousands of casualties and losses, including the deaths and injuries of thousands. Ultimately, the war ended after Vietnam withdrew its forces from Cambodia, and Democratic Kampuchea regime was re-established. This conflict marked a new chapter in the history of both nations and demonstrated sacrifice and unity in defending borders and population from the brutality of the Khmer Rouge. Vietnam's intervention in Cambodia in 1978 can be explained by its aim to prevent the genocide and the atrocity committed by Pol Pot's Khmer Rouge government in Cambodia. This intervention led to the overthrow of the Khmer Rouge regime and the installation of a pro-Vietnamese government in Cambodia. The arrest and trial of senior Khmer Rouge leaders marked the formal end of their existence. This event is part of the complex history of Southeast Asia and had significant repercussions for both Vietnam and Cambodia. For Vietnam, it led to a complex process of troop withdrawal and involving in reconciliation efforts. The Khmer Rouge genocide in Cambodia is a painful and tragic event in human history, from forced relocation, torture, and mass killing to language and religious bans. This genocide left a deep and devastating impact. This catastrophe also prompted Vietnam to intervene and initiate a war to stop the cruelty of the Khmer Rouge. The Vietnam-Cambodia border war eventually ended after many years of suffering, leaving profound consequences for both nations. However, Vietnam's intervention helped prevent the genocide and contributed to putting an end to the Khmer Rouge regime. From this, we learned the determination to protect human rights and the strength of human resolving the face of brutality. This war exemplifies the power of human determination in the struggle for freedom and justice, and how a nation can rise to prevent atrocity and protect its people. Thank you for joining me on this episode. Your questions, comments, and feedback are always welcome and appreciated. So please don't hesitate to leave them in the comment section below. And if you haven't already, please hit the like button and subscribe to our channel for more interesting and enlightening content by hitting the notification bell. You'll be sure to never miss any very exciting and thought-provoking episodes. Don't forget to share our channel with your friends and family who may also find our content beneficial. We are committed to providing you with high quality, well-researched and engaging content that will help you improve your English language skills and Spanish knowledge. And I look forward to sharing more insightful and inspiring things with you.